Hello. Okay, we are going to meet the Lib Dem candidate, Steff. Hello. Hi, Steff. Now, that's all right.
One of those days, eating on the go.
That's all right. Do you want me to? Do you want to finish your mouthful? Hang on, let's just go back a bit because I've got this thing on, and I'm really not quite. See, I've started this new YouTube channel. Started about 6 months ago. Probably 4 months. Yeah, probably about 5-6 months ago. So I've got about 60,000 views.
Awesome.
So I'm kind of walking around auditing the town,
Yeah.
getting into the town council, finding out a little bit more about North Walsham.
Great.
And
Great idea.
well, it's my little protest.
Yeah, good for you.
And I have been protesting against Duncan Baker.
Yeah.
Because of the things that I can find out online what he's been voting for.
Yeah, correct.
Because you can go online to find out exactly what they've been voting for.
Thanks to
the yays, yes.
Absolutely.
So that's been interesting.
No, hit me. I've got about 5 minutes before I've got to be down the road.
5 minutes is great.
Just
5
hit
minutes
me
is
up.
great.
What can I do for you?
Tell me about your politics.
Gosh, that's an interesting question. So I'm a Liberal Democrat. I got into this because, I joined when I was a teenager. I believe in what we stand for. Norman Lamb got me into electoral politics, so I became a county councillor in 2017. And at that point in time, I really looked at all the party manifestos and thought, yeah, that's the one that I'm aligned to most. I'm not 100% anything. I don't think anyone's 100% anything, but that's me.
Right. Because one of the things I definitely noticed on one of your leaflets when they came through the door was about sewage.
Yeah.
Because sewage is being pumped into our waterworks and whatnot, and you are against that.
Absolutely.
From your...
Well, I remember being a child at Cromer Beach, and I remember the decommissioning of the sewage outflow pipe, and we were told it's safe to swim in the sea. That was 20 years ago, 25 years ago. No, it wasn't. It was 35 years ago. Oh my God!
But what can you do? How can you reverse all of that?
The question is not about the technology or the solutions. It's about the investment and the incentive. So what the Liberal Democrats have consistently called for is for tighter regulation. We need to reboot the regulator. They're not doing their job. We need to ban bonuses for water company bosses if they're not hitting environmental targets. And mainly, we need to turn those water companies into public benefit companies so that their surplus, their profits, whatever you call them, don't disappear off to foreign pension funds.
But they used to be, though, didn't they? Before they got sold off, they used to be.
Yeah, when they were nationalised.
Or infrastructure.
Then the infrastructure was reinvested, the money was reinvested into infrastructure, and that's what's happened here, is we failed, or the companies have not had the reason to invest in infrastructure. They see sewage discharge, even the fees and penalties they pay, as a cost of business that's more profitable to them than actually investing in long-term infrastructure. So don't be under any misapprehension. The solutions are there. We just need to be able to direct the profits that we're giving them. We're paying our water bills and making them this money.
But it's voting. It's voting for the right person to do that. Because Duncan Baker doesn't seem interested.
I'll leave him to answer for his own voting record. All I'll say is he's voted 4 times against measures that would have stopped or slowed the discharge of sewage into our waterworks.
He's also voted against the change for landlords as well, hasn't he, to be more responsible for their properties. Are you aware of that one?
I will just have to leave him to answer his own record.
It's all online. Online.
I believe he's voted the way he's been told every single time. So
yes,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And who tells you?
Well, the party whips will try and tell me. I think I subscribe to a hell of a lot of what Lib Dems stand for in policy terms, and I was really proud of the manifesto that was launched last week. I've not got a problem with.
I've not seen the manifesto.
Well, it's full of stuff about sewage and health and tackling the cost of living crisis through training and workforce development. It's those sorts of things that I think apply to rural and coastal communities like ours. So, but don't get me wrong. If I think something is against the interests of North Norfolk, I won't vote for it. It's people over party for me, and I think that's part of what made Norman Lamb so popular, is he knew who he was working for, and he did what was right for us, and I can promise to do the same.
Because I find a lot of the parties over the last 10 years have changed. Do you know what I mean? Some of the stuff that I think is good for Labour, it's like they sound more Tory, and stuff like the Lib Dems sound more like Labour. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm definitely noticing a shift.
Yeah, there's an enormous difference between the Lib Dems and the Labour Party when it comes to how we achieve things that we want to achieve. So I'm suspicious of all forms of concentrated power, whether that's in big business hands.
You're not the only one.
Well, or even no, exactly. Luckily, I'm in a minor party, but when it comes to the state as well, I think big organisations within the public sector can also be just as self-preserving and as slow to adapt, and can fail to serve their residents. For example, we've had a colossal failure over many years of mental health provision in Norfolk and Suffolk. And at some level, that organisation is just too big to adapt and to improve. It needs to be broken up. And I therefore think that as a Liberal, I'm interested in what's the right solution for now. So we've got a housing crisis, a sewage crisis, a healthcare crisis. It's not privatise or nationalise for me. Those aren't the two options on the table. There are many, many ways we can tackle those problems, and we are constantly looking for what we can do better.
Right. I just then thought of another question, but I was too busy listening to you that I forgot what the question is.
No.
Are you, where are you up to with the human rights and everything? Because since we've come out of Brexit, we've now got the Human Rights Act.
The Conservatives are trying to fight a fight about leaving the EU, even though we've left, pretending that we're still part of it. The jurisdiction caused by international courts has got nothing to do with our former membership of the European Union.
But I thought and I believe that we were more protected under human rights with Europe. Coming in now with the Human Rights Act that the government has now implemented, I feel that they are picking and choosing rights that are not to be picked and choosed at.
Thank goodness they've run out of time, because there was a lot of stuff coming into parliamentary business which I think was nothing to do with what you or I would agree is morally right or in our interests here, but was all to do with trying to fight the far right that's happening. That argument between the Conservatives and Reform, it was token gestures that aren't thought through. They're not actually designed to solve any real problems for people. Yes, of course, we need a balance of law and order and the right to protest and free speech versus,
but
decency.
we don't need a government to try and stop us from protesting, which is what they are doing, isn't it?
I just think
so many illegal things now, and it's like, this is why I've got a camera now.
It's so far-fetched, I think, from what actually matters to people at the moment. And these arguments, these policy announcements, they're not thought through. Look at the national service policy. Now, you could agree or disagree with the idea of national service, but every single person involved in that policy has said, how terrible, what a stupid idea, we can't do this now. It's not thought through, and that's the sort of symptom that we've been dealing with for the last 3 or 4 years as the Tory party has imploded on itself, unfortunately.
And the priorities are no longer the right priorities. I mean, landlords, the cost of living, that disability, they are at the forefront of everything on every one of our minds, because that's what a community is. Do you know what I mean?
And I agree with
we're
you.
losing banks. Even this high street. Do you know what I mean? It's like, when are the priorities going to change so we can start making our towns and villages better, and the money that's being invested in that. I mean, £4 million for this, but yet I look up and I think, what a bloody shithole sometimes.
Well, I think North Horsham is a town that's going places, and
I'd like to think
really,
so.
Really
that's another part of YouTubing.
Yeah, of course. Well, I think that I'm really proud of the district council securing that money. If it wasn't coming here, it would have gone somewhere else.
True.
It wasn't taxpayer money from North Norfolk District Council taxpayers. It was brand new money into North Horsham from a range of different funds.
From
all sorts of different organisations that are there to do grant funding for historic town centres, all the way through to some government funding that was available to improve pedestrian access. So they really did the work to get the money in from different pots to put it here, and it wouldn't have gone to anything else here if it hadn't come here. And I think we've seen the change in people's views and response to the town. I know some people who have been against it. I've been really for it. I've been really pleased to see a lot of people really enjoying the town centre since the works were completed a year and a half ago.
But I look around and I think, oh my God, there's damage done already, and so many people have tripped over that curb, and we've got a £400,000 toilet across the road, and
public conveniences are absolutely essential, and it costs money to build things. So I think that was incredibly good money spent on the public toilets. I think we need to make it possible for people
$400,000 though.
That's how much it costs to build facilities. I really think that the point in time at which district councils are forced to start reducing public conveniences because of budgetary cuts is the point in time where we've lost.
Well, that's just it's just the cost, because cost is going up. When is it going to come down? And that's not just for putting food on our tables, but it is the infrastructure again of £400,000 for toilets. 4 million for this. And I mean, I remember coming along to the talks about this and, the disabledness. And I struggle because my mum, I look after my mum, and to get her into town and to find parking spaces for disabled, I still struggle. Yeah. So I don't feel
of course, you can park. Disabled drivers can still park here. Blue badges can park here anytime. Just to address your question about the cost of living, because this is all about the cost of living crisis, really. We wouldn't be worrying about the cost of doing town centre refurbishments if we weren't all struggling.
I think I just look at the whole justification of how this country now spends its money.
And this is the point. So we are not a poor country. We have allowed certain companies and certain types of wealthy people to avoid paying their fair share for too long. We need to make sure that they are paying towards the services that they've enjoyed and benefited from in their businesses.
Including tax.
Through proper tax collection. And it's a bit boring, but the money is there. It just needs more resource to go and get it, and crucially, better priorities. If you look at the state of our health service, it's not just been underfunded to the point where we've got junior doctors having to strike again and disputes with nurses who are on their knees using food banks. That's just unacceptable. But it's also not had the attention that's needed to do what's needed to make it fit for the modern age. We need to look at how we wire up the health service so that we can get a doctor's appointment, so that we can get
we could.
we could. That's right. And it's a few years of government under this party that's in charge or been in charge that I think has taken their eye completely off the ball of what matters to people.
And from my nursing experience, it's all disjointed now. Care in the community that came out like 15, 18 years ago, we knew money was going to be needed for that because it was an expensive thing to do.
Yep, absolutely.
And now, when I work, to get I say agencies now because it seems to be what it is, but, between the district nurses, the doctors, the neurological side of things, do you know what I mean? The communication, it's so disjointed now.
A lot of people look at the NHS and they see a lot of administrators rather than clinicians. Those administrators aren't doing nothing. They are busy trying to help patients navigate from pillar to post because it's so complicated.
So why did the Tory government take the Royal College of Nursing to court?
I can't possibly answer that as I have absolutely nothing to do with the Tory government, and I would never.
So
I can't answer their actions.
So if the Lib Dems got in, would that all change? Would that all be dropped? Will that all be? Do you know what I mean? Will we be able to build our infrastructure again with pride of getting our NHS back on its toes, to get our police and to get our
it all starts with people, doesn't it? So with whether it's teaching or carers or healthcare practitioners or armed forces personnel, if we don't have a workforce plan, we're not going to be able to bring the people into those industries that we need. We're not going to have the job opportunities that we need, not to mention the over-reliance on migration to fill those jobs that there aren't people available to do. So we've absolutely got to start with people. And I think our manifesto has got some really, really clear, bold, achievable plans. It's gone down really well. A lot of people who've read it really like what we're saying, particularly about carers and about healthcare. I think it's that injection of new ideas that will be the reason why a lot of people vote Liberal Democrat this time. I hope they realise that it's a choice between me and the Conservative up here in North Norfolk, but I also hope that they see in our plans things that are just common sense, and that, frankly, we don't need to be in government to make those things happen, because these are the answers to the questions that everyone is looking to the major parties for, and they don't seem to be able to come up with anything distinctive.
Because it all needs fixing before it can move on, and there's quite a lot to still get fixed.
There's a huge amount, and I'm up for it. I'm talking of moving on. I'm going to have to go. But go on.
Just quickly, are you going to be, because on Wednesday at the community centre there's going to be that debate. Are you going to be there?
Oh yeah, there's a hustings at.
And Duncan is going to be there.
I don't know. I've been invited to an accepted hustings at the church this evening, Tuesday.
Oh yes, that's
and then
this
there's a climate change or environment hustings.
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday. So I'll be at both of those.
Well, hopefully I'll be there, YouTubing it all, and good luck.
Great to see you.
And I'm going to have to say, I am voting for you.
Oh, bless you.
Yes.
That's so kind of you.
I'm voting for you because of the sewage, because of the paperwork you come through. So I'm holding you to account.
Good.
That what you've got the gumph that's been coming through my door.
The gumph has been that
I've
will
been getting
stop
a lot.
soon. Don't worry, that will
But
stop soon.
what you have put in there actually comes true.
I really hope so, and
so do I.
It's all I can promise is that I will do what I think is right for us. I really hope to be part of the change that this country badly needs, and I really appreciate your support. I know we've had some really interesting discussions in the past on your doorstep.
We have.
So I really value your decision to do that. Thank you so much.
Well, that's okay. But thank you for your time.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, that was really fun. That was